welcome to our side of the fence. Today we got a good friend of ours, Jordan Adcox here. Very interesting man, as you guys will find out here real
That's
quick.
debatable.
I don't know.
But I'm here either way.
You are here, and then of course we got Sarah. My apologies. And then this is Waylon. This is our newest Tim's Fencing staff member. John Huff's dog.
He's not
Jennifer
mine.
Huff's dog.
I wish he was, but maybe someday.
It does. No, I don't think so. Too small. It's just too small. We already got 2 dogs. One good one okay one, right, Jordan?
She's something.
Yeah, so we have a black lab. We haven't had Birdie on the show yet. We have a black, she'd probably be scared. We have the most bizarre black lab on the face of the planet, and Jordan is a huge black lab lover.
I'm all about labs, but I'm pretty sure this one, there's something off with her.
She's broken.
I would say about 99.9% of labs absolutely love me. This one won't have anything to do with me, which I take personally, but, so be it. We worked on it a little bit, and she just used me for snacks.
Yeah.
I don't blame her.
Right.
Maybe she's smarter than the average lab. That could be it,
That
too.
might be it. So we had her at the office all day yesterday, and it's so funny because she grew up coming to Tim, like from the time she was a puppy at our old shop. Every day she was with us, and then it's like one day we brought her in after we moved here, and she just wasn't having it. Like whether it was with some of the installers, whether it was with our guys, the people that she's been around, where like sometimes a client walks in and her hair is just on the back, it just stands up, she starts growling, and I'm like, first of all, Birdie, you're a small lab. Like, you can't take this, man. Trust me, Let alone, everybody's trying to give you a treat. You don't trust nobody. So she might just be more intelligent than the other labs.
That's highly possible. Mine knows no enemies other than cats. He went to, he went all over the place with me yesterday. We ended up in Signature in the FBO manager's office.
Good.
He was hanging out. He was trying to make friends. He didn't want to listen, but
Yeah, well,
he had to. He didn't have a choice.
Now, how old is your lab? Your lab's name is Gunner, right? Gunner?
Bowie.
Bowie.
That's close though. It's about the same. No, he's 5.
Yeah.
He was a finished obedience dog at one point.
I think we need to have Birdie
AKC
work.
senior guy.
Really?
And now he just is a couch king.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Ours is now taking over the guest bed every night because she used to love sleeping in her crate, right? Moved the house around, and now she's claimed the guest bed. So I get the 4:56 wake up every morning because
For an ice bath.
Yeah, well, no, from the dog first. That's why we get up so early to get an ice bath. But God, she's a maniac. There's no doubt about that. So, well, let's dive into you a little bit. So, just a little overview. So,
Well, let him give his own overview. I'm curious.
Give us the last 10 years of your life.
How do you know
What
Tim?
do you do?
How did you guys meet?
Oh, I taught Tim how to fly.
That is right.
Or at least kept him going until he figured it out himself.
I don't know if I've learned yet, but
Yeah, you're still getting there.
I haven't hit the ground.
Me too. I'm still learning too.
So,
Trying to figure that out.
which I think is wild. Like the whole flying thing I think is like just wild to me. And I grew up in the Air Force, so like I grew up around airplanes too, and I still think it's wild that just anybody can go and get their pilot's license and just
Pretty cool.
And then Jordan's your instructor. Like I just think though I pictured like this little old man, I don't know what I pictured.
Those exist, though. There are the little old man that
They do.
probably should not be instructing that are.
No, but they're fantastic. They just kind of rely on you to see what's going on.
How did you become a flight instructor?
Well, the whole thing started in a Waffle House, which is not a bad thing.
That's where all good ideas start.
We were fixing to deliver a car out to Denver, Colorado with a buddy of mine, and he came up with this idea, this really well laid out idea of how he's going to become a pilot. So he goes to the bathroom. While he does, of course, I make some phone calls and get a lesson for me, and he was a little bit stunned that I did it, but I did it and did it one time. I was like, okay, this will work.
Yeah.
Yep, this is for me, and that was 2015.
So, had you ever thought about being a pilot before, or did you take it as like a dare, or?
It was almost a dare. I've never planned anything in my life because every time that I plan it, it just goes some other way, and then we just ride with it. There's no I gave up planning a long time ago. I get that question, like, well, what are you going to do next? What is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Beats me. We'll see when we get here.
Well, I think he's going to be the Tim's fencing yard guy one day.
Were you
If
like
he ever
that?
just throws in the towel somewhere else.
Were you? Did you go to college? It's okay if you didn't. I'm just
I
curious.
did twice.
Twice. Let's talk about that. So you did you go to UT?
No.
Here? No. Okay.
Heck no. Community college.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah.
And that went just fantastically. Let an 18-year-old kid go out and be tasked with his own decisions. And yeah, I didn't take that very serious.
Okay.
Went back the second time as an adult learner and did fantastic.
What was the first round? Like, what was the goal?
Go to college because that's what I'm supposed to do, which is a scam. 100%.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah.
All day.
That's a scam.
Sarah went to college.
I did go to college. I did go
Good.
to college. I finished, but I don't use it, obviously.
No, nope.
And thanks to a lot of smart decisions like community college and stuff, I didn't end up with a ton of debt to like live with for forever like everybody else. But
Sure.
No, I just had that discussion with my oldest nephew. He was wanting to go back. I said, okay, is your company going to pay for it? Well, no, but I've been saving up money. I was like, no way. I wouldn't give them a penny of my money.
Well, it's so
But-
expensive now, too. Like,
It's
really just the
ridiculous.
last decade.
Milo's just listening to this.
Yeah, okay, Milo, you went to
Sorry, Milo.
how much was in-state tuition at UT your senior year?
Somewhere between 15 and 25,
Dang.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 15
Did
to
you-
25.
Expensive.
Did
I'm
you do-
lucky enough to not have student debt.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my goal. I think I had when I graduated, I think I had 8,000.
9,000, yeah.
That's not bad.
It wasn't horrible. It was okay when I was done, but.
You paid it off quick.
Okay, so then that was the first time you went to college. Didn't go great.
No,
No.
it didn't.
Okay.
100% lack of effort.
Wait, are you from Knoxville?
I am, yeah.
Where'd you go to high school at?
Central.
Central. Like right down the street?
Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's how you know everybody.
It is.
Full
Yeah.
circle. That makes sense now. Okay.
They're all connected.
Everybody's connected.
It is.
You just got to figure out what high school, and then you're like, oh, do you know? Enter name here.
Yeah, and then you got to figure out which group
Yep.
Yep.
because you got different tiers. Okay. So I belong to the lower tier. You go find the craziest people. They're like, oh, yeah, I know him. And then it's just like a total, you're one side or the other, baby.
It's
Either
true.
either you're all in or you don't want nothing. That's fine.
Yeah, well, it is funny though, because during our flight training and all that, like, I think Andy Bailey called me one day, and you're like, you know Andy Bailey? And I'm like, yeah, you know Andy Bailey?
Oh, yeah.
Jordan's friends group expands far beyond Central, it turns out. I mean, he just kind of knows every roughneck.
I know a couple
Every
people.
roughneck in Knoxville.
Man, I know all kinds.
So what was the goal when you graduated from high school? Like, what were you like, I'm going to be? Like, for me, I thought I was going to be an ESPN broadcaster. And then when I gave that up, I thought I was going to be a funeral home director. So that was great.
Clueless.
You weren't like, there was no goal.
Clueless.
Okay.
No.
Did you go to Pellissippi?
I did the first
Okay.
time, yeah. I went to
Okay.
Rhode State the second time.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I was going to go back and go through ETSU's program that, for what I was working on, which is like a healthcare management type thing. Negative. Spent all that money flying. It's a better return on investment.
I mean, yeah, truly.
There's no,
He's a very popular flight instructor. He can be hard to get a lesson with.
Okay, so we go to college for a couple of years at Pellissippi. Not sure what we're going to do. Then what happens?
ended up meeting a family friend in the old Kroger over here at the Virginia College just now. And he's like, what are you doing? Not much anything. I was working for the school system at the time, working around school buses and working in the office, which is hit or miss for me, but worked with some awesome people. And I can't say enough good stuff about the group of people that I worked with. And so anyhow, we're down there at Kroger shopping, run into a family friend who actually kind of goes back full circle. My mother was sick, went to MD Anderson. She was on an Angel flight, rode a Baron.
Really?
Yep, rode in the back of a Baron down there. And this gentleman ended up, he's a paramedic, And he flew down there with my mom, and he was like, "Hey, you ever thought about being a fireman?" I'm like, "No, that's a little far fetched. I'll go try it out though." So I went down there and rode with him a couple times, and ended up getting into that. So that's kind of how that whole thing started.
And
It's all by
that
chance.
was always with the city of Knoxville.
No, I started out working part time for Rural Metro out in the county.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a good experience.
What firehouse out there?
Mostly out in halls, but
Okay.
you kind of go wherever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was neat.
Wow.
It was a good experience.
So how'd that progress to where you are now? Because how many years have you been working with the city?
Oh, I've been with the city for 13 years,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
Just about 13 in April,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 14. I don't know. No, it'll be 14 in April, I think.
What's the goal? Do you have a goal? Like, we have friends that work for the city, like John, who works here, and he was a detective for.
That's all right.
So
Was there?
Okay.
Okay.
she's sniffing around.
He can, if he can sniff. We're dog friendly.
We are dog
I just
In the
didn't know
booth.
if there was like coffee in your. She spilt the cup.
No, it's empty.
Okay.
I'm not going to let coffee go.
Okay. So is there a goal like you're going to work for the fire department for 20 years or what have you?
I don't know.
You don't know? I love
told
this
you, I
energy.
quit.
No, this is good.
I quit planning a long time ago. Just as soon as I tell you what my goal is, it's going to change when I leave.
True.
I'll be out there trying to learn how to read a tape measure and build fences.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. So you
What,
you
the tape
joined.
measure part?
That'd
That
be
is a
nice.
skill. It's
It'd
a
be
lost
nice if
skill
you
at this point.
If
No,
you could read a tape,
100%.
that'd be big. That'd be big.
100%. So you Okay. So now you're a firefighter with Knox County, and then the city of Knoxville.
Yeah.
Okay, but you do something special for the fire department, right? Like you're not just a firefighter.
I do primarily rescue work, but a little bit of everything. I was a full-time instructor for a little while.
Like teaching other people how to be a firefighter?
Yep.
What's that like?
Oh, it was awesome.
Like how do you teach somebody how to be a firefighter?
Is that like the burning building simulation?
It's everything. So I could teach this dog over here how to pick up a hose and go put out a fire. It's not a big deal. But
this dog?
sure,
I don't
we
know.
can figure it out with enough time, right? So when you take and you fill that role as an instructor, and especially when you're working with these young guys and some really some really fantastic women too. Mm-hmm. We had some really rocking girls too.
Yeah.
They were awesome. But you take all those things that you wish that would change, and you start somebody fresh with that new idea. So, yeah, we can teach people how to be firefighters. It's really not a big deal. But you have to build that future leadership up. Mm-hmm. So that starts grassroots. It starts at the very basic level, and that's your opportunity to do it. And I had just a fantastic group of people to work with. Awesome. Top notch.
So when you look at somebody, do you feel like you're able to be like, okay, they have it in them, they don't. He's a natural born leader, she's not. She's a killer, I don't know, fill in the blank here. I know nothing about firefighting. So.
Well, that's in anything. You can kind of pick your assets per where you need them.
I don't
but-
think everybody has that skill set, though.
Yeah, because it's a pretty physically demanding training,
No,
I'm sure,
but-
too, isn't it?
It
I mean,
is.
surely,
It is, but you can, if somebody wants to be there, you can motivate them. You
Yeah.
can work with them. It's not a big deal. But the craziest thing about teaching people is very, very hard to tell anybody they can't do something if they want to do it. And I don't know that it's necessarily your job to do that.
True.
Now, I can promise you, if I was to ever get a medical license, I'm not your guy. Don't come see me, okay? So not everybody is cut out for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to give people a fighting chance.
Wait, why do you think that is? Because you're a rescuer, so I'm sure you have to
I'm
do
not a
some
physical
sort of.
science guy.
Oh, okay. Like biology?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just, I can learn about anything if it captures my interest, but that does not.
That's just not it.
That does not. That was one I got the extra help to get through. Okay, I'm not ashamed of that.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
How long is it training to become a firefighter?
It's anywhere between 4 to 8 months, depending on what you come in with.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stuff do people come in with?
It's mostly medical.
Like an
type
EMT or
EMTs,
something?
paramedics and stuff. It shortens up for them, but then you've got to train those people to have that skill, because that's something they're required to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Because I guess the only information I have, well, the only thing I know is I have one friend, she's a female, that was an EMT and then became a firefighter
She
for
was a
the.
paramedic, I think.
Or she was a paramedic,
She's
you're
rural
right.
Metro now.
And then now she's a rural metro firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
But
Good
she's
deal.
like,
She's beast mode. The woman could buck me up a set of stairs
no
if I'm
problem.
incapacitated.
No problem.
If I need to be rescued, I'm
But
calling
that's-
one of two people, her or Jordan. But Jordan likes
Or
to sleep
Kevin.
in, so if it's early in the morning, I'm gonna have to.
Oh my gosh! I got up at 6:30 this morning.
Oh, phew,
Well, I didn't. Yeah, it was close.
that's tough.
Oh.
Kevin Faddis.
Kevin
I don't
Faddis.
know if he does much rescuing anymore. You know,
But our
He
son
does a
thinks
lot of chiefing.
a lot of achievement.
A lot of chiefing.
He's a great guy.
he's
Yeah,
a,
he is.
he is the
great
chief,
guy.
right?
He's a
Is
chief.
there only one? Oh, is there multiple? Okay.
He's not like the appointed one. But
No,
right
he's
here.
got the north end locked down.
Yeah. Right.
He's
Yeah, he's
handled.
always on Merchants Road
Yep.
there.
Yeah,
My
man.
son thinks like Kevin Faddis. He's never met him in real life.
Yeah, he has.
Oh yeah, he has, but
Plenty of times,
he
but-
in his mind, because he's seen this one photo of him.
Brantley and Kevin would send selfies
They
to
would
each other,
send
like
video
all-
selfies.
videos and selfies to each other like all summer long, and like karate stuff, be doing push-ups.
He's like, Daddy,
and-
send this to Kevin Faddis so he knows how strong I am.
He's
And he would.
close.
And he would.
It's just, the man's so animated.
Yeah.
That he is just.
And I hope he listens, because he needs to know B's coming after him. It's just a matter of time. That's
It's
why
just
he's
a
going to
matter of
karate. It's
So
going to take him.
He wants to start the jujitsu now, so he'll really be able to.
yeah. So 4 to 6 months. How many I know like in police it's like an an academy, so you
Yeah.
graduate from the how many cycles did you teach? Just one?
I just did one.
How come you didn't do it again?
Scheduling.
Okay.
So 5, 11 to 12s. I don't know how anybody gets anything done.
Because a firefighter's schedule is like 2 days on, 2 days off,
We work every other day,
every other day.
and then we have 4 days off. It's awesome.
Which, yeah, this is, and there's a couple major topics I wanted to bring up when we talked about having you on with us, and that is kind of two things. Here's my one big one. What is up with the beef between firefighters and police officers?
Not really a big thing here.
No, not a big thing?
Mm-mm, no.
Okay. Good to know.
No, it's not. At least it wasn't. Some things have changed, but
Yeah.
it wasn't uncommon for those guys downtown to hang out with us about every night.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid group of guys working downtown. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So is that
They're out
some-
there doing good stuff.
Is that something? Why do we think that's a thing?
I think there's just probably some
Why do
petty
we-
talk down below that,
Yeah.
It
police
probably is
officers are
somewhere.
like, you guys get to sleep half your shift. That's what I've heard before, and
Oh,
only
yeah.
work every other day. I think they're upset because, they feel like they work more, or they have more
Guarantee
strenuous
it.
job,
It's not hard to
whatever.
work more than me.
And then the other thing is, though, is like, us being in the trades, and even when we're flipping houses and buying and selling, like, there was a lot of times that, some of our subcontractors were firefighters.
Oh yeah,
and,
I'm
like,
curious about that. Yeah.
doing drywall was something they did on the side, or pouring concrete was something they did on their off days. Or I know that there's, a seal coating company out here in Knoxville that's owned by, a firefighter that I believe works at the station over there near Central. And
Yeah, I think so. I know what you're talking about.
and I just, and like you, obviously, too, like because before you were doing flight instruction, you did like truck driving and logistics, right? So you've always probably been somebody, too, that on your off days on shift, you've had something else to do. And I just think that,
Every day.
obviously, financially, that's great for anybody, but y'all aren't a lazy bunch,
No, but I think it also pays to have something else to do. You gotta have a break from that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people that don't. I mean, you start looking at staffing and overtime type things. I know of somebody that's worked 15 days straight.
Really?
How's that healthy?
That's
You
not.
can't do that.
So that's
You're
the
breaking
part.
yourself down. But mentally, if you can go do something else, yes, financially there's a benefit to that. But to me, looking at it, I think it's a good break. It's a good mental break. to
So-
do something else.
That's one thing I was curious about because we just watched Limitless. Have you watched Limitless with
I don't
Thor?
know.
Chris Hemsworth,
I don't think so.
Oh.
like a National Geographic.
I'm a
show.
It's
terrible
like a National
movie
Geographic.
star person.
Well, it's a National Geographic thing. It's super nerdy, but he just did an episode on stress and like what it does to your body and different ways to manage it. And then at the end of every episode, he does like some sort of crazy challenge to test what he learned and the skills that he was able to learn. And this one was stress. And one of the things he learned or the challenges he had to go through to get to like the main one was a firefighter challenge. And they put him in a house that was burning and he had to rescue 2 people, I think, in the house. They were dummies. They weren't real people. And, not only be able to physically do that in all of the stuff, but like mentally be able to keep yourself calm to be able to do that. I was curious. That's what I'm curious about is like, what is that like to be a firefighter and how draining is that for like you and Leah and like, you're such a calm personality that I'm like, I feel like I'm asking the wrong person this a little bit. But
Exposure. So, how do you deal with that? Well, okay, day 1, yeah, that's going to be pretty stressful, and it still is. I'm not downplaying that situation, but the more that you do that, you start looking at it as an analytical problem of, okay, yes, this is going on here. I've seen this multiple times now. It's a problem that I need to solve. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to obviously weigh the risk benefit on that. And sometimes it flips the other way to where it's quite a bit of risk, but there's a lot of benefit, and you got to make that decision. And I hope that you make the right one because you got to get it done, period.
that's your job.
You know,
I guess as a firefighter on the rescue team, you don't have the option to just to be like, well, today's too tough, boss. I'm going home.
Yeah.
yeah, but you're not going to
finish
you're not
this
going
up.
to go, a zero reward situation where you're going to end up just not going home or going home messed up. Sure, we're not going to do that, but a lot of times you do get that risk. But sometimes, and I'm telling you, there's been some situations that are pretty significant, and it's like you got a mental thing there. Oh, this isn't good, and you kind of got to shut that off.
Yeah.
And you got to get involved. You got to start doing work, and
Yeah, but that's taxing on a person.
sure.
Is there
different people deal with things different ways?
is there any like support for? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
No doubt about that.
Do you guys go through that in your training? Like what that's gonna be like, and like how to, like when you trained your cadets, are they called cadets?
We call them recruits. Call them what you want. It's all
Okay.
the same thing, right?
When you train them, is that something you guys touch on?
There's quite a decent amount of talk on it, but we're not preparing people for a lot of that stuff. But then again, I can't prepare everybody for that because everybody deals with things differently.
Yeah.
There's some people that can be just absolutely directly involved in something that they're pretty good to go.
Yeah.
And that somebody just standing there doing some kind of support role or whatever they're doing are super mentally taxed by that. So that's a personal thing for everybody and how
Yeah.
they deal with that.
I feel like people that are really successful at dealing with that have your personality. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know I would be the person doing the support role, not doing very much, and would be super taxed by it. But you obviously very successfully handle that sort of mental strain.
Yeah. Most of the
That's
time.
why he got the Firefighter of the Year award.
Like what?
He's a well-decorated.
Oh, well, they ran out of
Very-
options that year.
Right.
They just
You give it to somebody. They've already paid for the event venue.
because his
so-
last name starts with an A.
There it is.
They
There it
just
is.
they ran out of time. They
Or
forgot to
maybe-
vote.
maybe
They're like,
it's a
Adcox, yeah. Okay.
Maybe it was a fishbowl and they just drew it out that day.
What
And
would you?
that's okay,
Is
too.
there just one memory? Is there one experience you've had, in rescue that just stands out above the rest, where you just felt like either you were able to provide such a difference in an outcome for somebody, or just something that was obviously a large event? Is there just one instance where somebody's like, define your career with the rescue side of the fire department in one scene, what that looks like.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't want to put it on a podcast.
Yeah,
We'll talk
that's
about it
fair.
later.
That's fair.
That's a very personal event for a family, so
Gotcha.
we'll leave that one alone. But
Absolutely. But there still are those standouts for you that
oh,
you get to
absolutely.
go be involved with.
There's some pretty
and-
cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure there's a lot of positivity too. Like, you have the opportunity to like save people's lives. That's wild.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of good work. So
That's wild. Yeah. I mean, what do they call that, hero complex or whatever? Which obviously you don't have because you. But I mean, I've never done anything like that.
We don't do a whole lot of life saving and fencing, it turns
No.
out. Turns out.
Turns out.
no, but we have done rescue work, and I've had to move the Tim's fencing sign out of the way. So
Right.
you're involved somewhat,
All
right?
right.
You know what's funny is that particular one too was a job site we were on like the next day or 2 days after that one where you sent me the
Yeah.
picture. You know, and it's funny too because I know that project manager real well that was in charge of that job site, and he called. He's like, "We might need to move it a day. We've had some issues out here." I said, "Buddy,
Yeah,
I
just a
heard."
couple.
I heard, but well, let's get back to flying a little bit, you know, because for me, and I think a lot of people find aviation and a passion for it in different ways, but you know, for me and my
Unattain-
family,
And an unattainable goal.
True.
Like, people don't think that that's something you could even do.
yep. But it was never that subject for me that I'm like, someday I'm going to be a pilot, you know, and a lot of people
I
it
know how you
is,
feel.
you know, you know, like I wasn't like the RC airplane. Let's watch the Wright brothers documentary as a kid.
Wait,
but
do people do that?
I think there's
Is that
some
an
people that
aviation
are-
thing?
Oh yeah.
I think
Like,
there's some
how does the pure aviationist, is that an
aviators.
aviator? How, like, they come to you. What do they look like? They're like, I've been reading books and I've watched every movie and I've seen Top Gun 3,000 times. Like, what is.
I mean, I think even just touching on my experience, like I was not educated in anything to do with propulsion, aerodynamics, drag, lift, all of that. So, and you could speak on this. I think initially, those, especially the first few ground lessons, it was just right
Oh,
over my
yeah.
head.
Yeah,
P
same thing with
factor,
me.
and I'm like, I would tell Sarah, I'm like, this is gonna be the hardest thing I've done. Like the amount of studying I'm gonna have to do to pass like the oral and the written, and I mean, I was right. It was definitely difficult, but for me, it was just, I want this, you know, certificate to be able to experience travel differently with my family,
And you do.
and we do experience travel a little differently, and we've been extremely happy with it. And you know, now that you know I have my private pilot certificate, now we're working on, you know, instrument rating and all that to have more options when we're flying. But it was definitely, you know, full disclosure too. Like I quit in the middle. Like I probably could have shaved 4 months out of my training just if I didn't quit. But you know, I got scared and I was worried it wasn't going to be safe enough. I worried kind of about everything. You know, my first phase of flying, I feel like I was always worried about hitting the ground. And it turns out that when these really smart engineers build a plane, though, they build them to stay in the air, and the plane
Yeah, that's
naturally
pretty
wants
wild
to
concept.
fly. But like I said, like I have my buddy that I tell you about who lives in Louisiana. Like ever since I knew that kid, when he was like, I probably met him, like he was my brother's friend, so he's a year or two older than me. But you know, like I was probably 6 and he was 8, and from day one, like that man has always been about flight. You know.
So do you remember Nate Crow?
Yes.
That answers Sarah's question. That's what your guy looks like.
That's what he looks
Well,
like.
okay.
Love him to death. He's awesome. He's great, and he's going to be fantastic. Mm-hmm. But right there, that is your textbook guy that's grown up and wanted that and loved it.
Because there's
Just
a.
watched every movie.
Watch out. Is he a young guy? I don't know. Like,
I think he's about
All right.
yeah,
right?
he's all right.
he's a. Because the couple of times I've been at the flight school, which is literally I could count on one hand, I'm so surprised on how many young people want to be pilots. Like young people,
True.
like babies.
Because right now everybody's going to be the next airline pilot.
Absolutely.
And you
They're
know
so
why they want to be an airline pilot? Because they want the money.
Yep.
Drives me insane.
Well,
Because they turn out to be not the greatest.
So,
but it's a lot cheaper to go get your pilot's license than and make that kind of money than go to school.
I mean, it probably is.
Put
close.
in the time.
It's probably
Oh,
cheaper
well.
than a 4-year degree overall.
Absolutely. And I'm not knocking anybody that wants to do that, but I don't like the ones that come in for a paycheck.
Yeah.
because they're not necessarily dedicated to learning.
Yeah. So if you could just take us through the process, because this is a question people, once they find out, that I got my pilot certificate, like a big question they have is like, how much time, like what's that look like on a weekly routine? Like if you could just describe the process with a student with an ideal schedule that could get in and train regularly, what's that look like?
2 or 3 days a week, shows up with a medical. Easy process. Just got to get with a flight instructor that will work you through it. Go get a medical, because you don't want to get into it and spend a bunch of money and time and realize that you can't do it.
Yeah.
Ideally 2 or 3 days a week. If you can do more, I'm good with that once you get kind of into your training a little bit. 4 or 5 days a week is pretty overwhelming. You need a little time to recover and reflect on that. Study, listen. I mean, most people that are out there in the teaching role are there to help you. They're trying to set you up for success.
Yeah.
So listen to what they're telling you. Don't try to outsmart the person that's teaching you. Not saying they're always going to be right. I can promise you that's not going to happen, because I'm wrong on about an hourly basis about something. But they're there to help you set you up for success. So if you can be consistent, that's the big thing. If you're not consistent, you're calling once a month, or you're not getting anywhere. You're wasting your money. I mean, there are some people that have taken big breaks, come back. I know one.
I think Waylon wants you to hold him.
Oh, I can do that.
He
Come here,
just keeps
pup.
whining at your
Come
feet.
here, puppy. Yeah, we can do that.
That's a real dog right there.
Sorry.
But the more consistent you are, the more you study, the more you work towards getting your writtens done, the quicker that's going to be. It took me right at a couple months to
Yep.
get mine, but there's been people that I know that have done it in 2 years. It didn't make them any worse or any better.
So wait, is
It's
there
more costly.
an hour? Okay, right. There's an hour minimum for book work, and then
Yeah,
the
what-
hour minimum for actively flying.
Yeah, break that down. What are the minimum requirements set by the
So in the
FAA?
61 world, so you call up somebody like me that is either working for a local flight school or an independent instructor or something, you're looking at no minimum on the ground.
Okay.
If you go to some kind of accredited program, you're looking at 20 hours. It's 40 hours minimum in the air, but that's unrealistic. Not if somebody's really doing a thorough job of teaching you. So I would think about that 50 to 55 hour range if you're being consistent, you're working hard. Doesn't mean you got to be a super pilot and get everything the first try. That's not going to happen. Everybody has some plateau that they reach. It's normally learning how to land.
I could imagine
Yeah.
that being that being a struggle.
Until one day it just kind of clicks and you're like, huh, why was that so hard?
And then the plane thanks you for that too,
Yeah, no kidding. Plane, the maintenance
The
bill,
maintenance man.
everything else. Maybe not the mechanic. You're keeping them in business, but
True.
the owner sure does.
The owner's
They
happy.
appreciate that.
So there's no minimum for book time, but isn't there a minimum for flying time? Because you would always talk about your hours.
Well, you have to at least have. Well, there's and then
minimum
you get
of
into your
40.
solo, and there's
Yeah, 10
required-
hours of solo, 5 hours cross country solo. And there's some other stuff in between that's just general instruction.
Yeah. I mean, I think the hardest part for me, if I really had to break it down, and there were seasons of it where just being as consistent as I could be was the hardest part. But I mean, as you know, like landings, man, I feel like it took me forever to get my landings down. And then probably just the 360-degree turn, that kicked my ass. The steep turns. I don't know why.
That's common.
The
Yeah,
steep
that's
turns
pretty
just-
common.
I felt like, I mean, me and you did countless steep turns. And then when you were busy, me and Jeff would go fly, and I'd be like, all I need to work on today is my steep turns, because that's just, I'm gonna have to pass this check
Up,
around.
down, up,
and
down.
man, and that was those were days. And I was telling Sarah this the other day, because we went hiking to Ozone Falls on Sunday, and we're like standing at the top, and it's, I don't know, 100 feet, something like that, down to the bottom. I'm like, Brantley, get back from the edge. And he's like, you're not afraid of heights. And I'm like, I get a little dizzy every time I fly. What are you talking about? Come on, step back from me.
And I'm like, wait, what?
I'm like, I'm kidding. But
Wait, but that's a concern, right?
Yes.
Do you get dizzy?
No.
Tim.
I was kidding when I said that. Don't you worry. You've both flown with me plenty. I mean, I think if I was getting dizzy while flying, somebody'd call me out on it by now.
Probably
We'd be
notice.
flying the plane sideways, and but I also do think, just in the student pilot world, there's so much build up to, having that final flight examination. There's a lot of stress around
there
that.
is.
It's a one and done kind of a deal. Like if it's really easy. If you don't look both ways before you turn, I mean, it's kind of like driving a car. You got to look both ways, make
Wait,
sure nobody's coming.
You only get one try to do that?
Well, you'd have to reschedule it and
Oh.
take it over. So
Is there a lapse of time you have to wait? Like with your
I
real
don't
estate
think so.
exam?
Is there?
Well, you've got 60 days.
Okay.
And if that expires, you got to do the whole thing over.
Nice.
So you can just retest on what you failed.
Oh, okay.
So if you failed the steep turns and you nailed everything else, you could go back and get some more training and then go back and just do steep turns.
Yeah.
See, because I failed my first one because
Yeah.
I'd go back, but which is fine. It was fine, and honestly, like the conditions the second day were much better than.
What'd you fail on? I forgot.
He forgot his goggles.
Oh.
And I'm like I'll scratch my sunglasses so I can't see out of them.
Adequately prepared and didn't
Yep,
show up
you
with
gotta
the right
be,
gear.
Got to be adequately prepared. It turns out, which is funny because I always had them in my bag because I accidentally had foggles on subscription, so I can't tell you how many
remember
pairs
that.
of foggles I had bought, but yeah, it was a journey
Well,
though.
just don't forget them on your instrument, okay?
I won't. No, I
Be all right.
just keep them in the plane. They just don't leave the plane now. So
So, Tim mentioned this. So what's it called when you're the person who tests people? What are you called?
Designated pilot examiner.
the DPE.
Yeah, that's what you call it, a DP pilot examiner. Is that your next goal? Is that what you want
Oh,
to
I
do?
He doesn't
wish
have
that-
goals. Remember?
That takes so much time.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Like-
that's a very, very difficult thing to get.
But Jordan would be excellent.
You
at
would
it.
be so
But
good at it.
He would be very good at it.
Oh, I would take it in a heartbeat.
And it sounds like Knoxville needs one.
Yeah, we do. We got some good people that are out there that have applied for it. So I'm looking forward to see what comes out of
See what
that.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because is there one in Knoxville now? No.
Well,
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We have a few, but there's a shortage nationwide. So
they go everywhere.
They go everywhere.
it's a process. You're waiting on the federal government to do something in a timely manner.
Right, right.
Then they got to
Which we all know what that's
find
like.
people and interview them. But I think we got some good people in this area that have applied. So things are looking pretty good.
'Cause that was like the most stressful part.
It was. No, just getting that.
Because like finding a school is pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
And then we met Jordan and he was your instructor. And that was pretty simple. And then
That was just the only thing as it could take.
I felt like it was so stressful. That part was so stressful.
And then the
testing
weather.
part.
The weather in East
The-
Tennessee.
oh, the
and,
weather.
You know, it was summer.
The testing
so-
part's the worst, and I don't have the secret recipe to not being stressed over it. The only one I wasn't stressed for was the multi-engine instructor, and that's because I had 2 days to get ready, so I didn't figure I had time to get nervous about it.
Did you
Think
pass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they called me on a Tuesday. The weather was poor Wednesday, and they wanted to do it on Friday. So
Done.
yeah,
Got her done.
Yeah, that was fun.
So lots of multi-engine flying now.
Yeah,
That's
we did
new.
pretty
Wait,
decent
that's
amount.
new. Was he a multi?
No,
Is
that was
that-
right after. That was
I think
pretty
finished
close
up right after
Mm-hmm.
we got him done.
So
And then go do that. Go do some steep turns in that.
I bet. I bet.
Oh, it's just wonderful.
I want to
What
go. I want you
plane
to
do
take.
you fly that's multi-engine?
Gary has 2. There's 2 in the flight school. Couple.
Are you just happy to not be in the Grummins anymore?
No, I'm still flying them quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We sat in that one time and I was like,
It's just
because
a
you
little
guys are
smaller.
two really like big dudes. 'Cause I couldn't imagine both
Oh,
of
yeah.
you being in there
Imagine
like,
when it's about 95 degrees on the
And we
ground.
go all the
and-
way to Myrtle Beach and back.
because there's no AC.
You're just sweating on each other. You can pop that. That's the nice thing about those. You
Yeah.
can pop it back and get some fresh
Yeah,
air.
it's a lot cooler at 11.5.
It is a lot cooler at 11.5.
We like that.
We just need to go fly on in Foxtrot Echo here soon if they ever
If they ever
finish.
get it done.
Gosh. He emailed me. He's like, oh, I lost a couple. I parted ways with one of my inspector. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Just get it done. For the love.
was
Get
hoping.
it done.
I don't know we'd have it this weekend, but I
Might
don't think
not.
so.
I don't
It's
think
still
so.
just
It's all done. I
lights
just wanna-
and the
well, it's now just
HSI.
the annual, so I'm like, let me just
Oh,
take it over
they're-
to Adam for because they were just going to do the annual at the same time, but now he's short staffed, so
Gotcha.
yeah, that's
Gotcha.
that's what's holding it up now. I think we should do our fishbowl.
Let's
What
do
y'all
it.
Think you want to poll it? What?
Okay.
Are you not? You're not done? We can be.
No,
keep going.
I can be done. I can be
Well,
done.
you don't have to be done.
No, I just I'm anticipating this fishbowl.
Let's see. It might be the one.
I don't have a lot. 1969 moon landing.
Oh, me.
Who do
You
you
scared
who?
the dog.
Oh, sorry, Waylon.
Waylon's just over here chilling.
Yeah, as we all should be. So
He gets it.
I feel like I'm gonna need to set a timer for this one because Tim's gonna go
the
over.
1969.
Hold on. Let
We've
me
talked
set-
about this in the Tim's fencing shop, mostly from a polling standpoint, but you know, in the last couple of years, there's been great debate whether we actually landed on the moon in 1969, and you know, we've had some staff members that are really passionate one way or the other. I think it's just a great thing to discuss, especially you have a lot of experience flying. And, you know, I know going to space is a little different, but
That's kind of what I'm going to do later when the weather clears up.
just go. Haven't I figured we could take Grumman to the moon?
Let's do it.
Certainly. I mean, if space shuttle 1969.
Just take a little fuel off, she'll climb.
So what do you think, though? I mean, just talking about the factors of getting through the atmosphere, no gravity, making an accurate landing. Like, is this something that just seems still too futuristic today?
I don't know. Gosh, we kind of, if you went and landed on the moon, mad respect.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
If you created that project, same to you. That's pretty incredible. I don't know. I like to think it did, but, the Earth in itself is a very rock solid flat surface to launch off of. So, do you need a curved Earth to get to the moon? You
Wait.
didn't think about that, did you?
You guys have spent a lot of time in an airplane alone together. Have you guys already talked about this?
About flat Earth theory?
Or going to the moon?
Going to the moon. Yeah.
Is it the same conversation? I don't know.
Have you guys talked about this already? Going to the moon?
I think we've just talked about taking Fox Echo to the moon before.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
About it.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
just
gonna
curious.
kind of get a grapple and attach it to GameStop and ride it to the moon. But
Okay. Okay.
Well, Bitcoin's going to the moon right now, I heard, so we just put the grapple on the invisible currency and get us there too.
All right, I'm just going to do like my one strong opinion mic drop. Here we are in 2024, and sometimes I find myself with no signal on my cell phone, and I'm not able to finish a conversation because I don't have a signal. Okay, but we have the president here on a corded phone, somehow having a conversation with somebody on the moon with a corded phone. And the conversation was clear as a bell, and there was no hiccups, and it was recorded for national television.
That is a big hang up for me. I'm not gonna lie.
And I just don't think.
But God forbid, in 1999, you couldn't be on the phone and talk on the internet at the same time either.
no.
Yeah.
That was
No.
30 years. That was 30 years
Mom!
Hang on!
later. You're gonna kick me off.
And the dial-up.
I'm gonna get kicked out of my chat room.
Probably didn't need to be on AOL Instant Messenger anyway in the year 2000, but it was an entertaining way to pass the days. But
Well-
also, like, Elon Musk hasn't made it to the moon yet. That's another hang up I have.
That's fair.
I know the Cybertruck took a little longer to launch, and
because we could have taken. That's what it is.
What, the Cybertruck?
The Cybertruck looks like the Halo video game. A Warthog. That's what they found on the moon was the Cybertruck.
now, it was brought to my attention that when we went to the moon, that we did land on it in 1969. Yeah, because we found one of the small spaces on the moon with no craters or crevasses.
Crevasses?
Crevasses, whatever you want to call the cracks in the
that's-
moon, because it's not flat.
Crevasses.
It looks like Swiss cheese. Remember that the astronauts were exploring the moon and kind of went over the lip and looked into a big crater, and aliens told the astronauts to never return, or else it could mean sure destruction to mankind.
That's
so
pretty solid.
List.
And they traded the Cybertruck as like a peace offering.
true. Elon Musk himself was traded
I
as a
could see
peace
that.
offering. That's what it was.
Or maybe they look.
Because what year was Elon Musk born? Let's look it up. He's like 50 something right now.
Let's look up who made the lunar lander.
It's probably a Musk.
I have to take a picture of you and send this to Leah holding this tiny little dog.
That's asleep.
That's asleep.
Wearing a sock as a sweater.
Wearing a sock as a
She's not going to be
sweater.
surprised.
In 1971.
Oh, 71. So see, the aliens said, hey, return to Earth, and we will provide a man that will answer questions in the future. And it took 2 years to find him, Elon Musk. That almost seems like a leading theory. I'm not going to lie.
You guys, and then we could go down the alien theory
Oh, those are
about
real.
how, I mean,
Those are real.
oh,
And-
100%. They're all just like running experiments on us.
But are aliens our
see
future
that.
selves, or are aliens their own creatures? Because that's also something we listened to that podcast on the way back from when we had to drive home from the beach. Mm-hmm. And this gentleman who brought up the theory that aliens are our future selves coming back to the Earth to learn from lessons. And the theory is that there's been more alien sightings lately, so we're getting closer and closer to like global destruction, the global destruction of
Well,
man.
did we notice that the government acknowledged there was UFOs?
Right.
Absolutely.
Nope, we're just going to cruise right over that like
we
everybody
cruised
else.
right over that and
Nobody talked about it.
went right into whatever nonsense they had going on for the day.
Do you think people were like, well, yeah, we know UFOs. Like, we know they're real, but now you're just admitting it. I always wonder that, too, because if we could just open up the vault of secrets.
Imagine creating such a division in a culture that you can tell people UFOs are real and nobody pays attention.
That is true. We're all still just worried about if an election was stolen or if COVID theory. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's happened in the last 5 years that have just been wild. As far as dividing the people, I mean, the subjects independently, you could break them down and probably find legitimacy in some of them. But I do always wonder, the aliens things. We've talked about aliens way too much. I think that's part of it. But
I mean, I even think that there's like different races of aliens and they probably like fight each other. But I think that they're all just running experiments on us so that they can learn to better their own societies.
or are we just
I
like
could see
the
it.
petri dish experiment of a higher being?
I think there's multiple.
Or is it the Matrix? Are we all like floating in some serum hooked up and we're just living this fake like they're letting us talk about it right now. They're like, dang it, they're catching on. They're catching on.
In the Matrix, in the podcast booth.
And the
That's
It's getting
a lot
real
of theory.
specific here.
And here's the spy
And here's the spy right there.
right there.
But the moon landing, though,
Take a look at that. See who created the lunar lander. What company did that?
was it Boeing?
No, they're still trying to figure out how to keep the doors on the airplane.
When one door closes, another one opens, though. You got that, Milo? Because there's more conspiracies, all these major aerospace engineering companies and the government contract.
The Apollo lunar module, Grumman Aerospace.
There's the answer to your question. Have you seen the climb rate of a Grumman cheetah on a hot summer day? You think they went to the moon? They're still trying to get to 10,000, baby.
Do you think it's the same company?
Yeah, it
Yes.
is.
Hold on. So that tiny little Grumman airplane also created the lunar landing.
Also, yeah.
Wow, I wonder how many similar
They used the technology.
that's
off
what I was
the
gonna, similar technology
Lunar
they used
to
off the
build it.
lunar landing to create the Grumman.
Yeah.
Actually stole a few design things from their fighter jets.
I had to have.
Oh, they have
They
fighter
did.
jets
Had
too?
to have.
Yeah.
The seatbelt.
Who
I
creates the
heard-
F-16?
Who made the F-16?
Was it Grumman? Yeah.
No,
No, it's probably.
I think it's Lockheed, but I could be
Lockheed, yeah.
wrong. I'm not a fighter jet expert.
General Dynamics.
General Dynamics.
Okay, there you go.
Lockheed Martin.
Okay.
I didn't do too bad.
That's close. You know, my dad was a 32-year employee of Boeing, so we didn't speak too highly of Lockheed in our home
Oh,
growing
I
up.
understand.
Oh.
We did not speak highly of them at all.
My dad was an F-16 crew chief for 22 years.
So he probably
That's pretty
speaks
cool.
pretty highly of.
Yeah, it is pretty
of
cool,
Lockheed.
actually. It is pretty cool. I didn't realize how cool it was until recently when we were at Signature, and you know how they always have the F-16s fly over the UT games. They were there because there was a UT game that day, and B was like thinking it was the coolest thing on the planet, and like I'm kind of used to it because that was my life for so long, and everybody's like flocking towards the F-16s, and you know the pilots are nowhere to be seen, but there's this crew chief that's like, you wanna come see it, you wanna come look around, and it was pretty cool.
I bet he loved that.
Oh yeah,
We took a bunch
he's
of
a cool
pictures.
But
Oh yeah.
I
Did he
didn't-
have his mohawk?
He might have that day. Where were we going?
we had the dogs that day
we
too.
did have the dogs. We were flying to the beach.
Oh.
That was the
If
first.
he had his mohawk, I'm surprised they didn't let him jump in and do some flying.
just-
No, I don't think he had
Thanks,
a
Kyrie.
mohawk.
But he's like, can we get a fighter jet? I said, they only
Yes.
seat 2 people, buddy. I don't know how you're gonna have to ride down below.
Dog's gonna have to be in
Mama.
your lap.
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting to see somebody famous at Signature. Every time we walk in, I'm like,
We just don't like going when it's busy though either. If we were there, like,
I don't care. I'd go sit
5
there.
hours
I'd go sit
before
there
a
just
game
to wait.
started, I mean, there's good people
Oh,
watching.
yeah.
There's great people.
There's a
watching.
lot of money going through there.
Yeah.
You
that's
see a lot of sports people just
Well,
with YouTube.
also, I would
being there.
never recognize any of them.
No, I wouldn't.
I'd recognize Dolly Parton's flying on in there.
She's got to fly up to Gatlinburg, right?
She would have to. She
Yeah.
pretty much owns the city.
That's right.
You think Dolly lands in Gatlinburg to
Yeah,
go to
probably.
the UT? Because the
Oh,
UT
for the
game.
UT game, no.
Yeah, the UT game
No.
that she sang the national anthem
She
at.
flew into Signature that
She-
day.
we were there that day.
The gas boy said that.
Yeah,
She
he
flew
was
in.
like, he saw Dolly, he saw Peyton Manning, he
Luke
saw
Combs,
Luke Combs.
Thomas Rhett.
Yeah,
All those guys.
yeah, he saw all of them, the same
Walker
gas guy.
Hayes.
I was like, you've been busy today. He's like, oh, we've been busy today. And like,
That
listen.
was that time I told you that he like 15 times brought up how big the like jet owners tip him for doing gas.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
have you seen
Right.
that one propeller? That directly reflects the amount of money I can tip
Like,
you.
bro,
Can I have
today.
the 14 pounds of gas, please? Excuse me?
we had to yard our son's
push it
yarding the
back
airplane out of the
The hangar.
hangar,
Yeah.
and he's like, he's talking about how much everybody tipped him that day. I'm like, you had a great day.
Good thing you're ahead.
See you later.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for helping us, peasants. What would you say, real quick? Circle back.
Sorry, I
Wrap
got
this up in just a
distracted.
minute, but talking about flying experiences, do you just tell us about a flying story that you're like, that's still just top notch for me, your best experience in the air?
Oh. Starts right at the Endeavor transition and flies right into Oshkosh.
Yeah?
By far, that's the coolest thing I've got to do.
Really?
Just
Yes,
lining
absolutely.
up with-
Awesome.
Like
how
with all the
close-
other airplanes? Like, because it was so busy?
Just the whole experience.
The whole
it's,
thing.
It's an incredible thing to see.
So you shot me a screenshot that day of the ADSB reporting of
Yeah.
everybody else.
Wait.
Like, how close was everybody on approach getting into
Could
there?
you
Like,
see
you
them?
could obviously see
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
many planes.
Wait, you have to say what Oshkosh is, because I had no idea until this.
It's the Experimental Aircraft Association Air Venture. So that's the biggest fly-in gathering in the United States. Everybody comes in, camps, turns the whole town into something else, and it is a week of everything you could ever imagine aviation.
So we've been to like Harley Week or Bike
Bike
Week,
Week
whatever.
and all
I
that.
picture it's like Bike Week, but for
Back week of the sky.
air,
Yeah.
airplanes.
Yeah, 700,000 people showed up last year.
That's so cool. Okay, so back to landing. Like, there's airplanes everywhere.
How many miles out were they positioning you guys?
I think we got a half mile in trail. So they were trying to get some people. It's typically 1 mile in trail. Everybody's at the same altitude supposed to be. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
So try filling that plane up all the way. Put it at max gross.
In
And
the
flying it at 90 knots.
yeah,
probably
it wasn't
not gonna
like
do-
it
yeah,
wasn't
I'm not
like
gonna
it.
do- Yeah, not gonna do that again.
It wasn't like
Did
it.
you tell him about the time that we flew in right behind that commercial airplane, but we were over the ocean? Did you tell him about that?
Oh, I think you were watching us last time.
Oh
we flew the
man,
beach,
Yeah,
and
I
was
was
watching you.
shaking.
They're like
Yeah.
Addison. She's like, I need you at 1,600 feet, and like we're I mean, we're dang near out of their airspace, and she's asking for that. I'm like, I'm
It's like,
good.
man, I think
I'm-
it's
I feel like-
changed destinations.
I feel like a
Heading-
wave is gonna grab me
heading
at
to
that.
Scotland.
Oh yeah.
Might as well kept going.
And then she
Destination
says like,
Nova Scotia.
what'd she say? Watch out for
Wake turbulence.
wake turbulence, because this like big
We're falling in a whatever.
I don't know,
A320,
commercial
I think.
air
Yeah.
just like comes in right over us and lands, and we're over the ocean, and I'm like,
They're just, you never know what's gonna happen at Myrtle Beach.
No,
They just
but it's
So-
a neat place to go.
well, okay, but when you went to Oshkosh, where do they put all the airplanes? Like in a field? Because I
That whole airport turns into parking and camping.
parking can't.
So side by side in the grass, everybody camps next to their airplanes, and they have a campground too.
Do
Do
they
you
have a
can't-
tug to help you position, or is
That's
everybody
what-
taxiing in?
Yeah.
Taxiing out.
Yeah.
Or you can go to the Holiday Inn.
Go to the hall. Book it 2 years in advance, and you can go.
Yeah,
Maybe.
good
You
luck.
too can go
No
to-
telling how many thousands of
Did-
dollars a night that they charge, but you can pull right up to the airport or
Really?
to the hotel. Yeah.
Oh, really? You did you take Leah with you? Did you? And
No,
Leah
she
go?
didn't go.
She didn't go. It's just you.
Yeah, it was me and my friend Chris.
Do did you stay the night? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, we stayed for
Couple nights.
4
Like
days,
a couple
I think.
days.
Yeah.
Did you camp out of the airplane? How'd you do that?
We had a
You
tent.
just like pop up a tent underneath the airplane? Is that what
Yeah, we
everybody
were-
See
does?
the pictures?
No.
Oh,
It was quite
that's
the
on me.
setup. We had generator power and
They're
cooler.
Oh, you
yeah,
put
it was-
everything in the plane?
Oh,
What do you
yeah.
do for food?
Well, it's like
Oh.
a food truck park there, isn't there too? Or
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff to eat, but we just walked out and
Go
right
get,
next to the field there's a place called the Hangar.
go
And
get
they
you a
had,
bite.
yeah, they had good food and everybody's there for the same
Okay, that
purpose.
sounds really fun, actually.
Yeah, that's
yeah, there's that park there. I guess I don't have a picture
No,
of them
you
camping.
didn't send me a
I think you
pic-
posted something on Facebook about it or something. But
Oh. Where's the tent?
they see, I don't know. I don't have that picture.
Oh.
But or he
I'm
probably
just
sent it
curious.
to me at some point. But
I see
I'll
what.
show you later.
I'm not
Yeah.
much of a camper either, so I don't know. If
No, but it was in like the mid 60s at night.
like perfect.
Oh, we had air mattresses and fans, and it
Mm-hmm.
was pretty wild.
that'd be fun.
You
and
couldn't have got anything else in that airplane.
And then there's Sun and Fun too, though, which
Yeah,
is
it's a
another
smaller version.
similar event
Yeah.
in Florida, right? That might be more my speed. I like heading south further more than I like heading north, just in general.
Yeah, it's not quite as busy,
Mm-hmm.
but that was an experience. That was cool. That's one of those things everybody talks about. Like, yeah, I want to go one day. No, we did it, and we did it on the absolute busiest time possible.
That's when you
But
should
that-
do it.
that's
though,
kind of the
you
coolest
know?
part.
That is the.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional, but I'll check that box. I don't have to do it again.
And then there's a lot of weather leaving, so you guys had a
Yeah, we had to wait
pretty
a day,
long wait
and then
to get out of there.
the ride back was easy and simple and
Yeah,
no big deal.
that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, we just appreciate having you on today.
It was
Have
fun.
you on again. I just think the good BS episodes are the best ones.
We had fun with it.
Absolutely.
You've never been on Leah's podcast
No, but I wouldn't be any good at it.
Talking about murder.
talking about murder?
Nope.
We got to show her podcast is
Looks that kill. For
Looks
all
That
your,
Kill.
For
That's
all
what it
your
is.
murder needs.
For all
Yeah.
your murder needs.
They'll take care of you.
It's kind of like a crime junkie situation.
Yeah,
I
they
want
do
her
it and
to-
they have fun with it.
I want her to cover Ervil. Shoot, what's that? Cult.
It's like some
Ervil.
fundamentalist Mormon that lived in
Yeah.
Mexico.
Every now and
murdered
then
a
I'll
bunch of
text her.
people.
I'll be like, "Hey, I want you to cover this story."
Yeah,
so
and
I
she
can-
likes to do the things that not everybody is talking about.
Yeah.
Ervil
so-
LeBaron. They call him the Mormon Manson.
Ooh,
Oh, I
now
know.
I'm interested.
Oh, it's fascinating. Okay.
Lots of
Okay.
wives and lots of murder.
I got to ride out to Oklahoma tomorrow, so I'll be getting caught up on my looks at kill.
Looks like he'll.
Are you going hunting?
Yeah, we're going out there,
Very cool.
so it'll be fun.
Go knock them.
Yep, United's going to deliver me out there this time.
Oh, you're not driving.
No, no, I made it from here to South Dakota in one day.
You're good.
I'm good.
You're good.
I got the next year or two of driving covered.
You
I don't
do.
need that.
Well, you have access to airplanes, so I think you're.
Yeah. Well, I guess weather's maybe not the
Weather,
Yeah, I don't think
weather,
we're doing any flying
well,
today.
Touche.
touche.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your
Awesome.
time today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's go get some lunch.
Let's do it. Cue outro.
Shout out Dylan Cessna for the awesome intro and outro. outro music for our side of the fence. We appreciate it. You rock, dude.